With the advent of social media connecting people far more than decades prior, it's never been easier to find like-minded people with similar opinions. Unfortunately, this also leads to false information being easier to spread. Conspiracy theories such as the flat earth, birds aren't real, vaccines cause autism, and the world leaders are secretly lizard folk have spread more than in times without the internet. There's one recent and ongoing event that's caused a plethora of conspiracy theories to sprout, and that would be the COVID-19 pandemic. The COVID pandemic has plagued the world for the last 2 years, with information also plaguing the internet. Today we'll be looking at some of the conspiracy theories that have come up throughout the pandemic, as well as why these ones don't hold up to scrutiny. In December of 2019, the COVID pandemic started. Over the next few months, it spread across the world, and with the rise of the virus, the first conspiracy theories popped up. One of the early ones was that there was no pandemic, and it was made up by several different people, including most country governments, and this was for several different reasons, such as control over the masses or a cover-up. There is also the idea that 5G signal towers gave you COVID, or spreaded symptoms. There was already a lot of fear around these towers, so it wasn't long before COVID was blamed on them as well. COVID was also widely believed to be man-made, a bioweapon or an experiment gone wrong, created by a variety of different nations. According to the BBC, as much as 13% of US citizens believe that the pandemic is a hoax, with a further 49% believing that the virus is man-made. While the exact origins are still undiscovered, a lot has been found out about the virus itself, with it being identified as a SARS-CoV-2, and its origin and discovery being in Wuhan, China, in late December of 2019. The link to 5G is strange, as 5G is a form of mobile network. If you turn on mobile data on your phone, you should see either a 3 or 4G symbol, and 5G is the next step up from that. 5G also runs on former wavelengths occupied by radio stations and TV channels, so if you've been around TVs or radios, you should know that they're fairly harmless. In late March of 2020, the UK went into lockdown. Masks became mandatory in shops and any open workspaces, and with it came scepticism towards masks. The main conspiracies that came up were about masks and the effectiveness of wearing them. The biggest one was that masks simply didn't work, that they don't prevent the spread of the virus, so there's no point in wearing them. Another major one was that masks stopped the wearer from breathing, with fabric not letting enough air through. Lastly, there was the idea that the masks would contain a 5G chip which would spread the virus or track the wearer. Most conspiracy theories about masks seem to have come from denying COVID-19 and simply not wanting to wear a mask. The way masks work is that they're a multi-layered cloth for covering the mouth and nose. It also has a fine filter layer inside it as well, designed to keep viruses out and let air molecules in. Since air molecules are groups of atoms with less than about 100 per molecule, and viruses are made of thousands up to millions of atoms, there's a lot of difference between the two in terms of size. So if masks then prevent breathing, how could they also not prevent the spread, and vice versa, with two conspiracy theories contradicting themselves? Like some theories, they both have a small layer of truth to them, which makes them a bit more believable than if they just said masks set the wearer on fire. So with the theory that masks don't do anything to stop the spread, it's that masks don't do anything to prevent contraction, rather it helps prevent the wearer from spreading the virus. This is because the mask only covers your nose and mouth. If you wanted to protect yourself from receiving the virus, you've also got to cover up your eyes, any open cuts, and your ears. However, in regards to spreading it from yourself, you can only really spread it from your mouth and nose, which I covered up. The lack of air has some roots in that wearing masks for a long period of time can cause the air coming through to seem a bit fusty, which makes sense because your masks are picking up dirt and stuff from the environment breathing in, so any dirt in the air, you're picking that up and leaving it on the mask, as well as anything that comes out of your body, so like any saliva or bits of food, that'll get stuck on the mask, as well as heat, so it'll be a bit more fusty. However, the quality of the air hasn't got anything to do with its quantity, especially if you're wearing, like with anyone who's worn masks for long shifts at work, showing that you can still breathe with them. This goes doubly for surgeons, potentially doing surgeries that take longer than 8 hours. In June of 2020, lockdown restrictions have started to ease up, and people have started to return to work, and in the months since, a vaccine has been made and distributed. Vaccines have always been subject to conspiracy theories, so when the COVID vaccine came out, it was subject to tons of misinformation. These conspiracy theories range from the vaccine alters your DNA, the vaccine is untested, they contain microchips made by Bill Gates, These were combined with the usual topics of vaccines containing dangerous materials and causing autism, as well as making you magnetic. We're not going to talk about those because they're not directly tied to the pandemic, but more vaccines as a whole, and that's a whole nother mess. Vaccines usually take between 2 to 5 years to make, so for one to come out in a little less than a year, it's a little concerning until you realise that almost every country has been pushing for the vaccine's development, as well as there being several teams focused solely on the vaccine. So it's not surprising that this one was made just a bit quicker than the other ones. Bill Gates' involvement with the vaccine was limited to funding research and development through his foundation, with the microchip rumour being false. The rumour seems to have originated from a tweet that based its findings on out-of-context responses from a Reddit Ask Me Anything, with the digital certificate being an online database and the quantum dot dye being neither a chip nor a human implant. As for the DNA claims, like many vaccines, the COVID-19 one doesn't interact with the cell nucleus, but rather gives your whole cell instructions to build defences and fight the virus. A lot of the time this is done by introducing a dead or weakened version of the virus into your body, so your cells can fight it off before they face the real deal. Since this topic is very heavily tied to the public and what their opinions are as well as how much they believe these, I thought I'd do a little vox pop to see what some people think about it. What's your opinion on the COVID pandemic and its origin?
The COVID pandemic, it's been quite serious. It kept us locked down for over a year. Its origin, I wouldn't quite be certain, to be totally honest with you. Let's say it came from China. Did it come from a lab? Did it come from a bat? I don't know. I think there's a lot of negativity about where it came from, and I think there's some stuff being hidden.
I mean, I believe it's real, for starters. As for like the origin, all I know is that it originated in Wuhan. I'm not sure how it came about.
I don't have a big say on it. Like, I just heard from the news it came from, China and everything from there, and then it escalated to like, oh, could have been like a nuclear weapon that they used and it got out too early. That's the stuff I kind of heard.
What's your opinion on masks?
I think masks have been quite helpful, to be honest. The effectivity of them has been brilliant. So while we had to wear masks and they were mandatory, I didn't have a cold, didn't catch COVID, and since we've taken them off and we haven't been forced to wear them, I've been catching colds left, right and centre. So I feel we should be wearing them, to be brutally honest, until this is all blown away.
Not too bothered about masks, because I remember a lot of people really kicking off about having freedom, but I think there's been a bit over the top because like society expects you to wear a shirt. So you wear a shirt. I think it's just nowadays people feel so entitled to rebel against stuff. I think people are just saying, oh, I don't want to wear it for freedom, but it's not really a big problem, just have a bit of fabric on your face.
Yeah, I believe masks have been really good. They've slowed down the spreading of COVID, and it's factually been proven. You can tell there's people trying to debunk that you could breathe through it, but you meant to.
What's your opinion on the vaccine?
Myself, I've not got any jabs yet, but that's because I'm a bit lazy. But I have nothing against it. I don't think like they're going to track you with like any GPS in your body or anything like that. But yeah, I think the vaccine's good. It should help. It is a bit weird that people get sick after it, but that's just me not knowing medical reasons and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm all for the vaccine. I'm already double vaccinated. I think it's protecting me against the virus, and it's helping the strain on the NHS.
It felt rushed, I would say. I think it would have felt rushed, but at the same time, the whole world was working on a vaccine, and COVID did stop the world, and I think it did make everyone reflect on like, God, things go fast. But I feel like because we're spending so much time on it, all these different organisations and stuff, I think that the vaccine does work, and it has been working, it seems, because the numbers are going down, people are dying less.
In conclusion, while there's a lot of information floating around about the pandemic, it's best to do your own research into what's real. A lot of reputable sources do have their own information, as well as if you're looking at anything that you don't feel is as reputable, you can look into who wrote it and such, and come to your own conclusion.